What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Gaming has an identity crisis right now. The entire video game industry can't seem to decide if they want to go for realism or escapism. And today's topic actually touches directly on that, more so than anything that I've seen in recent history. The hard R in Stellar Blade, which to some, including myself, is such an innocuous, minor, accident that doesn't even mean anything or matter very much, has put off IGN journalists and made them go absolutely insane, addressing this with Sony directly, complaining about it, and wondering how this is going to get fixed. To which Sony has already replied, saying they plan on removing this graffiti in the game. But it gets to a much deeper issue with the video game industry on the whole, and we're going to talk about that in this video. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down the hard R controversy in Stellar Blade. So, Stellar Blade is as far as I can tell so far from the demo, I know the reviews have come out and they've said it's been a roaring success for the most part, many outlets giving it 8 out of 10 or higher. I loved my time playing on the demo. It was a fantastic experience and a game I'm looking forward to getting to as soon as I finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and maybe Unicorn Overlord. And oh my god, there's so many games out there. But anyways, I don't want to lose track of what I want to talk about here. The hard R was discovered on a street, on the side, on a wall. It says the word hard in graffiti next to the R shop. And the R shop here stands for Roxanne, who is one of the game's information brokers, and the name of the shop that she's in is called the R shop. So it makes sense that the store is called the R shop, and it makes sense that there's graffiti on the walls in the city, because that's what happens in real life. Is sometimes stuff gets vandalized and sometimes there's graffiti on the walls, and in this case they wrote the word hard, and it is right next to the R shop. So, coincidentally, if you will, I don't think this was done intentionally by any stretch of the imagination. These are foreign developers over at Shift Up, where they don't really want to go out of their way to do something as controversial as writing the hard R as we do over in English in America, where this is taken as a negative thing or implies something that a lot of people may take issue with. But right there's what I wanted to dive into a lot deeper with this, is the video game industry in general can't seem to make up its mind as far as if they want a game to be escapism or if they want it to reflect real life. Because real life can have some scary words written on walls when you go outside, and it may not be the most welcoming environment, especially in the deep, dark alleyways of cities where some people may not look too kindly upon you for walking down them. That's real life. That happens. And video games have gotten to the point where graphics are just so damn good and storylines have become so deep, and the depths I could have only imagined when I was a kid playing Kid Icarus on NES to get to the point of where we're at today with modern storytelling and graphics in video games. But now we've hit a crossroads, and I think this hits on the epicenter of what everyone is dealing with in the controversies. If you're going to talk about Sweet Baby Inc. and DEI and ESG scores and all this other stuff going into games, because they can. And at what point do you want to play a game that is just so tame, so sandpapered, that the grit has been removed completely, for a safe space to play it and not worry about encountering any of those scary things you might see in real life because the game is escapism to you? But I kind of feel like that's where personal bias comes in, where journalists, for the most part, taking issue with, say, the hard R, would say that's offensive, that's not something that I want to see in a game, that could imply things with a negative essence around them, and the game should not be doing that. But if the game were doing something that were reflecting real life and their values and morals, they'd be embracing it. So where does the line get drawn? And right there is the issue in all of this. Now, to be fair, there was no specific addressing or pointing out specifically from a journalist about this. It was addressed by IGN, and they did say that they reached out to Sony for comment, and Sony said they spoke with Shift Up and said specifically, the placement of two graphics near each other in Stellar Blade resulted in an unintentional, objectionable phrase. Shift Up had no intention of creating offensive artwork and will be replacing the graffiti for a day one patch. Which, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of have an issue with that. And here's why. Shift Up created this game not intending to offend. They didn't create this area, this graphic next to this other graphic, to offend people. They did it because they thought that was the way it should look art-wise and direction-wise from the country of origin where the game was created. And this kind of goes more into the whole localization thing that I talked about in that other video with Capcom and the localization teams, changing things to fit the environment of where they're selling the game and how things could be viewed as offensive to people in different areas. But here's the thing. They're not trying to be offensive. And I think right there is the problem. If a game company in Japan or Korea, in this case, is making a game that has objectionable phrases by accident, because of course the America and the Western civilization in general gets offended by everything these days. But if they're making a game with zero intention to offend and it comes across as offensive and Sony needs to patch it out day one, it can't be there, it makes you wonder, what is gaming even all about in the first place? Are we going to get rid of any kind of relation to reality, even if it's a deep dark alley of a city where this could happen in real life? You can't have that in a game? Never mind that Stellar Blade is rated M for mature? You can't have something that the West finds objectionable accidentally in a rated M for mature game? I don't get it. Like, where is the line drawn? And I don't want to sound too hyperbolic with this, but I do worry about the slippery slope when it comes to over-censorship to try to make things right. It goes to the path to hell is paved with good intentions. If you're trying to not offend people, all you'll end up doing is over-censoring everything until there is nothing left to offend anyone. And then reality will hit people even harder. On one hand, there's a push for hyper-realistic games that reflect and explore real-life issues, relationships, and conflicts, and those games can offer profound insights into the human psyche. And then you have other games that are just pure escapism, that aren't based in any kind of tangible reality whatsoever, nor do they want to relate to reality at any point. And why is it allowed sometimes for some games to touch upon these issues, and then other games it's not? And Stellar Blade is one of those games that's already come under a tremendous amount of scrutiny just for the level of attractiveness of the main protagonist of the game. And now we have situations like this, where it was developed in Korea, a different country that doesn't know or care about things that are offensive in America and doesn't intend to offend. They're literally just making a game with their artistic vision, and that's being ruined because everyone's a snowflake today, and that's the truth. While I was editing this video, they already updated it and replaced the word hard with crime. That's how fast Sony and these major companies can change a game that was promised to not be censored. Think about that for a second. This gets at the heart of the freedoms of speech of developers. If companies like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo can do whatever the hell they want to change something that's not even meant to be offensive. At least in my opinion. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about this moral quandary, if you will, about the hard R in Stellar Blade. Do you think it's okay for Sony to remove it because they don't want to offend people? Or are you more in my camp where it's a dark alley of a city where this happens in real life? Why are we shying away from that? Why are we protecting everyone for a rated M game, by the way? I understand it if this was rated E for everyone. Like, obviously, yeah, you might not want that to be seen by kids, or hell, even like for teen ratings, okay, M for mature. Like, come on. This is one of those things where, yeah, if I'm shift up, own it. I'm going to move forward with this and say, yep, that's in the game. That's part of the city. It's a rated M for mature game. Did we intend it? No, but at the same time, that's reality. Sometimes stuff like this happens, and you got to deal with it as it gets thrown at you. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Check out smashjt.com for the full article, references, and links. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Smash JT. Smash JT. Smash JT.